Hi, my name is Brian Cuban from Phoenix, Arizona in the USA. I'm the owner of Cube Music Studios. I've been in business for 25 years as a recording engineer. This lesson is for week 1 of Introduction to Music Production at Coursera.org. I'll be teaching how to record an electric bass using a direct line input. Now let's check out the equipment we're going to use for this demonstration. First, let's start with our source. The source is going to be my American Standard P bass. We will also be using this 1/4" TS instrument cable. It's an unbalanced tip to sleeve cable. The Fender P bass that we're going to use is a passive bass. Passive means that there's no onboard preamplification. A lot of instruments have onboard preamps to boost the signal. This particular bass does not have this. Since the bass has no onboard preamp, we're going to need to boost it with a high Z direct input line. There are a variety of preamps available on the market, different brands, makes and models. Not all of them have a high Z direct input built into them, but it just so happens that I do have a model that does have this feature, and we're going to use it today. The preamp of choice today is going to be the Focusrite ISA 428. It's called a pre-pack. It includes 4 identical preamps into one contained unit. The great feature on this preamp is it also has 4 instrument inputs. So each one of these 4 preamps can be assigned as an instrument input as well, a high Z instrument input. On the control panel, there's a selector where we can choose if we want a mic, a line instrument such as a keyboard or a drum machine, or an instrument input. And that's what we're going to choose today. So now I'm going to connect one end of my TS cable into my bass. And the other end of my TS cable into channel 4 of my Focusrite preamp. And this is, like I said, a high Z input made for instruments. Now let's check out the control panel on the ISA 428. The selector is in the proper mode. There's mic, line, and instrument, and for a guitar with a pickup, we'll want instrument mode. The gain structure is all the way down. So what we got here is we can set the gain to a certain level, say -10. And if we want to boost it, there's another extra amplification knob here where you can fine-tune your amplification so you can kind of get that sweet spot that you want it to be at. I usually leave this down to 0, and I set this to 0. We start there, especially with a passive bass. I want to start with 0, and then we'll see if we need to go up or down from that point. Okay, let's see how much amplification we have now. I'm going to go ahead and pluck my bass. And as you can see, I'm not really hitting it very hard. I'm hitting the bass hard, but I'm not hitting the preamp very hard. There's also a level over here on the side on channel 4 that shows me, indicates a light on how much amplification we're getting. So now we'll use the secondary amplification knob, and I'll turn that up to +10, and we'll see where our settings are right now with the meter. Much better. And that's kind of right where we want to be. We don't want to be hitting the red. I like to hit about -6, -8, somewhere around there all the time. So we now see a real solid signal coming through our preamp. Let's see how it's hitting our DAW, our digital audio workstation. My sound card is an Apogee Symphony I/O, and it has some really great metering on it. And it can kind of show us where we're hitting right there. See how we're just kind of like clipping that yellow a little bit? That might even be a little strong yet, because I'm playing this with my left hand, and I'm not really plucking the string right now. So I'm going to back it off just a little bit. You can always boost it later. There we go. That's a great signal right there. Very consistent. So we have a nice signal going into our sound card. So the next thing is we're going to look on our DAW. There's some controls on the DAW. A record function. Right here, it's a little red button I want to press. And that activates my signal through my speakers. So I kind of have a fail-safe. I don't really have to worry about popping my speakers because I always get my levels set before I even activate my DAW system in record mode. And I never really hear anything until I activate the signal. As you can see, we got a nice solid signal there. A quick summary of today's lesson for direct input recording on bass guitar. We used a passive P bass, passive electronics, no active circuitry. We plugged a TS cable, an unbalanced 1/4-inch cable, into the P bass, out of the P bass into an ISA 428 microphone preamp, which has 4 high Z inputs as well built into the preamp. From there, we set our amplification levels. We got a good solid level, and then I showed you a little extra routing on how I went into my sound card and then into my DAW system.